Hello and welcome to the Tabletop, and today I have the honor to show you a new game, and it's the German Grenadiers starter box versus the British, roughly thousand points, a bit more, and this game will be an homage to this game from Mordor and Glory. A year ago, I started to play BoltACtion, and I think when I came home and I typed in BoltACtion into YouTube, I think that this was my first video. I think I started it and I watched it from beginning to end, and I enjoyed it a lot. And this one also, and a lot of cool battle reports. So I owe a lot to Mordor and Glory. And today, I will show you Royal Marine Commandos versus German Grenadiers. It is version 3. It is starter box against starter box. The British don't have really starter boxes. I constructed them from Perry minis and from Wallet minis. You can see it up here. I will put a link how I built them. And let me give you a battle report on how this beautiful battle went. And if you want to learn the game in version 3, so this is kind of a battle report, and it's also perfect for people who want to get into the game, or perfect for people who want to learn version 3 of the game. So let's start. Royal wait a second. Royal Marine Commandos versus German Grenadiers. So let me show you the map. So this was the scenery. I didn't build it. I didn't even play it. It's two new players. One is called Mario and the other is called Berkan. And both came from, I played with both 40K and Age of Sigmar. They are active members of our local game store. And yeah, they took a liking to BoltACtion, and we're kind of, yeah, I'm giving them the second introduction game to BoltACtion. And what you can see here, I think, would be a French village or something like this. And wait a second. And it's a French village, and Mario did build the trees, and I told them it's a death trap what you're building, but I wanted to show them the game, a rematch, and so that's what they came up with, and I will show you where the missions are. These ones are the mission objectives, and it's not that you come from this board edge, it's a diagonal. Like the German Grenadiers will come from this board edge, like here, and here from this side the Brits will come. And in the middle, you will score each turn 2 points for holding the middle objective, and you will score 1 point each turn for your home objective, this one. And for the enemy objective, you will score, I guess, 3 points if you can reach that. And yeah, so this is the scenery, and I call it a death trap, but it is a really, really cool game that the two guys will play in a second. So yeah, forgive me for this one. So these are the troops. Because Berkan is a new player, and Mario just has the German Grenadier starter box. So to get them into the game, I didn't want them to introduce them to the platoons of the 3rd edition. We will do that in the next game. So we're playing with the version 3 rules, but that's what they will get in a second. So I built Berkan 4 infantry squads. 3 squads will look like this: an LMG, a loader, an NCO with an atomic gun, and 5 rifle dudes. And as you can see here, it's all the same. We will have later a discussion if this is a good team. I would say this is classically the mixed bag, where you have an LMG where you have the NCO with an MP and rifles. This is not ideal. It's not ideal for a pro play, but because Berkan is new to the game, I wanted him to give him kind of a historical feeling, and I wanted to give him like a feeling for the units and what's good. And then you will see in a second. So this is what he gets. Again, these are the other two infantry squads, not yet fully painted, so forgive me on that. Then he gets a medium mortar with a spotter. He gets a medium machine gun, and he gets 8 dudes of British paratroopers. These guys are stubborn, so when they, let's say, something hits them and they lose half of the team, usually, yeah, they would take a morale test with their pins on a minus, but these dudes are paratroopers, they're stubborn, they will take their morale check always on a 10 or like not modified. Yeah, I would say those guys have all Tommy guns, but we have one Vickers machine gun and one loader. Not optimal. Berkan, while playing later in the game, he wished that these two guys also just had MPs because he was assaulting with them. And we will test also the new infantry close combat rules. But yeah, I just gave him a bit of toys and the models I had. So we have a boy's anti-tank rifle, not ideal, but I gave him just a cheap dice in the back, and I thought maybe he can pin the Puma with this guy or shoot some veterans. Then he gets a second lieutenant and an assistant. Again, I wouldn't play it this way. I always take just the second lieutenant, inexperienced, bare bones as a dice. I don't care. I do it like Bo Mortensen kind of told me. But I wanted to show him like, yeah, this is how you can play it. Then he gets a heavy artillery piece. I know usually those are 6 guys on this artillery piece, but I gave him 4 so that we could play the mirror match with the German Grenadier box. And here he gets his sniper. And I think, yeah, a Sherman 5, 16 millimeter medium anti-tank gun, a hole-mounted MMG, and a coaxial MMG. Brad Pitt waiting here for some action, and then this should represent a Humber. Right now I don't have a Humber built, so I just took the 222, and this bad boy, this one here, will do a lot of work. This guy has recce. This guy has an MMG. He has the light autocannons, and this Humber, this light, or even a 222, this thing will wreck faces. And it has also recce, so it's very maneuverable. This, yeah, and the Fury Sherman, yeah. So this is the scenery I already showed you, and these are the enemy forces. This Mario is painting up his German Grenadier box really beautifully. Yeah, as you can see, very orderly, very beautifully. These are my miniatures. He has not yet fully painted his army. This is his first, I don't know, 8 man. His Stu, his Puma, and this squad I think he also painted up, and this heavy mortar, and the rest I filled in with my troops, which are, I would say, 80% finished, but not yet fully finished. But the German Grenadier starter set, which is a great deal, and I think 11 order dice. Pretty standard, the same loadout as the Brits, just to show a bunch of rifles, an LMG, a loader, same here, but the NCO has a submachine gun. Again, not ideal to win tournaments, but just to get into the game, and plus to learn the rules of version 3. So yeah, here you can see the medium machine gun. He 3D printed this one I think he also like here his sniper team beautifully, his spotter, his howitzer, and then my stuff. Yeah, beautiful. And the beautiful gray order dice. Yeah, let's get into like beautifully painted. Mario always does a great job. And it's just, yeah. So the game starts and we forward deploy. At the beginning of the game, you can forward deploy. You have units like the spotter and the sniper and whatever has the rule forward deploy. You can put them, I think, up until or up to the middle of the board. And so Berkan chooses a, a building, a ruin to put his sniper in. And on the other side of the town, Mario chooses to put his Germans in. And then Mario deploys his spotter here and overlooking everything pretty much. These barrels from here, 3 inches in each side, you can hold the objective. Like this one is the objective and this one, but we count this piece of terrain as holding the objective. And then there's a piece here. And yeah, so Mario gets the first dice, the Germans get the first dice, and he orders a fire. He shoots at Berkan's sniper right here. He hits, he kills them, both play them regularly, regular snipers, and the other guy then has to take a morale check because when half of your team in one round is wiped out, you have to take a morale check. So he takes a morale check, he fails, and one sniper is killed, and his body just flees. One dice out of the bag. Very, very bad start for Berkan. Mario brings his mortar in, beautifully painted. He advances it. He puts it in position, and that's all for the turn. Then Berkan walks in with his Brits and from this board edge, and he can see, I think, the snipers from here. Like it's hard to know, but like because it's diagonal, it's not that he's coming from back there. He's coming from the side, like as you can see here. Here are the dices, and from here he can see the snipers, and he starts shooting at it with everything he has, and with the LMG. And he manages to give the sniper a pin, and he manages to kill one of them. So the spotter gets killed or the sniper gets killed, the other one picks it up, and now Mario's sniper is in jeopardy. So what happens next? The British continue to come into the board, just holding here the objective. Again, in this game, we score points at the end of each turn. What else? Then the Humber joins. Like I play this as a Humber. Then the Humber joins, and I think he opens the fire on the sniper. He gets another pin on the sniper, and then as a response, Mario brings in his Puma. And I think he shoots at the Humber. I don't know if he hits it. Like this is the position here where Mario snipers, here were the English snipers, here the German snipers, and I think the Humber just kills with a lucky shot the remaining sniper. But I think it's hard to hit because they're a small team. But yeah, the Puma comes in, shoots at the Humber, and I think misses. The Germans come in and claim their home objective, looking pretty grim. They run 12 inches. Then Berkan advances with his medium machine gun, and I think there's nothing to shoot, but he wants to yeah, it's kind of he's overlooking the city square somehow. Then here the Germans advance into the board, and yeah, everybody eager. Berkan advances again and gets a few pins, I think. What's happening then? Here the Mario's running his Germans again. Everybody running pretty aggressively towards the middle of the board. And what's now happening is that, as you can see, this diagonal, and down here, Berkan can come onto the game board, and he does. So he's in the flank of this team, like right here, and he advances with them, and I think he shoots with his LMG. I don't know if he manages to pin them up, and then the Germans, to counter that attack, they come on with a stew, and this one has a howitzer and shoots at those guys. Those guys cannot go down, and that is pretty bad. Again, they took a pin, they were shot. The stew pins these guys up, I think, and then the Sherman. Wait a second, what happens? What came first? I think, yeah, the stew came in, and then the Sherman comes in and takes his aim at the stew, and that's the standoff. Like that's how it looks. Like he shoots at the infantry, and he shoots at the Stug. Then Mario brings in his Puck 40, trying to overlook the map. But turn 1, you just can bring it in and just bring it in and how do you call it? In German, it's called ausrichten, like set it up, to set it up. Then he runs his medium machine gun so it can be in a good position. So in turn 1, just everything tries to position themselves onto the board. The boys' anti-tank rifle, I think, will shoot at the Puma. Here, the German Fallschirmjäger advance. These guys are veterans and they are also stubborn, but they have Panzerfausts with them and assault rifles, all 8. So, yeah, then the British SIS, the Commandos, come onto the battlefield, hiding behind the building, and right behind them, the second lieutenant and his body. So everything is now setting up. What happens next? Let me see. Okay. This is more or less the board. Okay, I think it's turn 2. And turn 2, the following happens. First dice is a German dice, and Mario puts it on the stew, and he tries to shoot with his howitzer the tank. And he shoots it on the top, and on a 5, I think he could have penetrated it, or on a 5, he could have glanced it, and on a 6, he could have penetrated it. But he doesn't manage to do any damage, but he gives the Fury, the Sherman, 3 pins, because each time you hit with an HE, and that one is a HE3, you do D3 pins. So you roll a D6 and you halve that, and so this tank has a few pins on them. And those guys have 2 pins on them. They had to go down because I think the medium machine gun or something sprayed into them. Then Berkan takes his AT gun, British AT gun, and fires at the Stug or stew. And the stew catches, well, gets destroyed, because the new rules are, if you're shooting with your anti-tank gun at a vehicle, you're hitting on a +1, and in this version of the game, in version 3, you're hitting everything on a 4 up. If you move, you hit one on a 5, and this guy stands still, has an AT gun, and shoots at the stew, and the stew dies. So Mario's not happy about that, and he tries to retaliate with the mortar, and he shoots the mortar at an infantry team, but I think he doesn't manage to roll a 6, but he dials in. What else? The Puma moves from behind towards the city square, and through the city he manages to see the Sherman, and he takes a shot at the Sherman, but I think he misses, or he hits the Sherman, but he just glances it, something like that. The medium machine gun takes a fire order with his 7 shots at some infantry here. The boys' anti-tank rifle shoot at, I don't know, probably some armored car. And the Germans are now trying to overrun and claim the mid objective. So in this turn, the Germans have their home objective and they have the middle objective. In this turn, they will score 3 points. Berkan sees that and is now eager to contest it with his British commandos. And so he jumps out of the building and runs towards here. It's not an advance order because we were playing this as a ruin, so true line of sight. He doesn't advance out or advance in. He just runs, and that's all he does. A pretty ballsy move, and he can shoot with these guys, and he cannot go down with these guys, but he just runs towards the middle of the board. So the Pak 40 can't see the tank, can't see the Sherman, and cannot see the Humber. So he takes a shot with this guy. Again, I think the British mortar is dialed in on a 5 on these guys, but they start shooting at the Commandos, and they cannot go down. He hits them, and I think that the Commandos lose 3 guys. They just do. It hurts, but they will do a great deal of work in this game. So bravery will be displayed. The Humber follows the Puma's thought and now starts to support the Commandos here and pushes towards the city square and starts shooting at these guys with his autocannon. And he puts a pin on them, and I think he kills 2 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think he manages to kill 3 of them with the autocannons. The MMG tries to hit something. Yeah, everything runs towards the mid. Everybody trying to hold objective to push against the enemy. The Puma takes another shot at the Sherman and hits it, but doesn't manage to do any damage. Not that the Puma is weak. The Puma has a medium anti-tank gun, the same medium anti-tank gun this Sherman 5 has, but just out of bad luck doesn't manage to kill the Sherman. The Germans here need to go down because now they're getting focused by, I don't know, what is focusing them. Yeah, here. Something is pushing towards the flank of the German player. This squad of infantry is just running and everything is on the move. Like Berkan playing very aggressively with his British, not thinking about casualties. And because he has pinned up the enemy, he takes the risk of running them closer to get in a better position. But also claiming a bit of the soft cover. And here, I think nothing can reach them here or touch them there. In the middle of the board, the Germans run with their STG 44s and their veterans and they're facing off now against the British paratroopers, and they lose, I think, another guy. What saves them the day is a bit of hard cover right here, and that they are veteran. The veteran then, these guys then advance because they have a great morale. I think they lose a pin, they advance, and with everything they have, they start shooting at, I don't know, either this guy, this troop, or this troop, and doing some serious damage. So the mortar fires on these guys, and these guys are pretty doomed. These guys are dialed in on a 2. I think in a turn before that, on a 5 up or on a 6 up, they were hit. They tried to rally, but each turn they are now receiving pins. They cannot really rally. They need to go down. And so these guys are in a deathlock, just taking the pain from the enemy mortar. I think we're now about turn 4, and everything that can run starts running towards objectives to reinforce their own troops. So the second lieutenant right here and his assistant with their STGs are running towards the middle of the board to support the troops with morale and firepower. The Humber drives up here and takes an aim at the German Fallschirmjäger or paratroopers and does quite the work. I think, as you can see, they cannot go down. They already had 2 pins, they get another pin, and they lose, let me see, 8-man team, they lose 4 guys because the Humber has an autocannon. He can place HE1, and he has 2 armor penetrations. So veterans go then from a 5 to a 3 to wound. And yeah, they're in bad shape. As you can see, this is from above. Like here, pinned up German Grenadiers, and here British paratroopers, and here the Humber giving them fire support with an autocannon. So these guys still on the advance. They advance, they shoot their Tommy gun, and this guy empties his Vickers machine gun into the enemy. I think into these ones, and I think they don't make it. The Puma takes another shot at. No, wait. The Puma doesn't take another shot at the Sherman. The Puma, here, the question was simply, can this Puma recce out? Because as you can see, this is a question to the community. He drove up here. Can he just like turn on the spot, or does he have to leave some room behind himself? I don't know that. We will find out. So, but there is still the face of Puma versus Sherman, and the question is, who shoots first? Who gets the first dice? And I think the Sherman, I think, what happens? I think the Sherman gets the first dice, and he moves forward. He doesn't duel, or does he duel with the? No, he doesn't duel. He moves forward. He advances and supports the infantry on this flank. So he could have taken out or tried to take out the Puma, but he didn't. He advanced forward, and yeah. And the turn before that, first turn, this guy got HE shot on him. Then he got pinned up with 3 pins. Then in the next turn, he rallied. Then he got another pin from the Puma, and then he just went down. So difficult time for this Sherman. But now he's trying to shoot and split fire, but I think he cannot really shoot because his infantry is blocking him here. This AT gun can now see the Puma. They take a shot at him, and he shoots all the town square down and destroys the Puma gun. we have here, what do we have here? Yeah. Yeah, the Germans try to fire. What they do now, they fire now. Their Panzerfaust. This guy sprays his MP into the Fallschirmjäger, and these guys, because we were playing with new rules, third edition, Panzerfaust have now HE2, so he's emptying his Panzerfaust into the German SIS right in here, and they're also dialed in from the mortar, and only this guy survives. He has to take an order check, but he passes the morale check because they're stubborn. So they are dialed in, and he loses a lot of his bodies. Germans moving up from all sides, and the 222 taking out everything he can. I think these guys, as you can see, they advanced up. They shot something. Yeah, they tried to Panzerfaust the Humber. This guy tried to empty his Panzerfaust into the Humber. These guys were shooting at some British guys, and then the Humber retaliates, and I think he wipes their team, or he shoots most of them, and the rest flees. So it's not looking good for the German team. They are in a tough spot. They lost a lot of dice. And the British player is scoring a bit more, and is also having a lot more dice. So yeah, a rough game for the Germans, but they're advancing, they're firing everything into this guy. You're hitting this guy with a mortar now on a 4, but is still surviving. Um, these guys running. They did run from here to here, and they won the close combat. The new close combat is everybody fights simultaneously, and if the enemy has a secured position or is into behind some enemy terrain, he gets a bonus. I'm not sure what kind of bonus. I have to reread that, but this they advanced in a straight line, so everybody was fighting simultaneously. And he had one tough fighter, this guy, and now tough fighter does not an additional does not sustained hits like at 40k. That each hit would give you another dice you could roll to hit. Now instead, it's tough fighter means if you fail to hit, you can reroll this to hit roll or to wound roll. And yeah, they wiped the team, and they, what's it called? Yeah, they could move then another d6 inches. Yeah. Consolidate. It's called consolidate. Then the Sherman moves up, and yeah, the Germans are now getting in a pretty rough spot. As you can see, Sherman advancing, troops advancing, Humber advancing, and they still run towards the objective, and now they are contesting it. I think the German player has now 2 guys on the objective, and the British player has just 1 guy on it. So right now, the German player would score that, but the Humber again drives up, shoots into this guy, and I think claims their lives. The MMG trying to shooting at something. These guys are, I think, the enemy mortar has them on a 2 up. Just 2 of these guys are still alive, and they have 1 pin. I think, no, 1 wound left, 1 guy. Only this guy is alive. He has 2 pins, and he's dialed in on 2, and he fires. He fires at uh, this infantry guy, the SIS paratrooper, and he gets him. Yeah, there he goes. This guy who, yeah, really survived. Then MMG's firing. Um, AT gun is firing, and the British running up on a run with his second lieutenant and his buddy, and now he's claiming the middle objective with one man more. MMG trying to fire, cleans up these guys, claims their lives, and what's happening? And now the German player is holding it. But yeah, next term comes and the British player is now overwhelming the German forces. And I would say this seems to be a British victory. The Germans, this is the only units the Germans still have. The MMG, the PaK 40 with one surviving man and a mortar. And the British claim the victory for this day. And that's it. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see us in the next game. See ya.